Hello everybody, welcome to my Gregtech test laboratories. My name is Chloe. Today I'm going to be showing you how Gregtech pipes work and why it's important to use shutters. And hopefully through this video you'll learn to control your steam and other liquids more consistently across the board when using Gregtech 5 pipes. Now the thing you need to know about Gregtech pipes is that they are not created equally to other pipes. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just they are engineered differently and it's by design that they work this way. Now, what do you mean that they're different? Well, in normal pipes, in like say Buildcraft or say, pneumatic tubes from Red Power and all these different mods, when you put something in, you get something out. It doesn't float around inside or bounce around unless there's no place for it to go. But in Gregtech, even when you have some place for your liquid to go, it can actually slosh around inside your pipe from machine to machine or from pipe to pipe. That is because you need to think of your pipes as little mini tanks. They actually have volume inside, and the volume could be not completely full. So just like a real pipe, say you flush your toilet, you run your water in your house, you don't actually fill a solid section of the pipe with a big huge ball of water going down there. No, it's like a stream that's flowing through it. Gregtech pipes work the exact same way, and even with steam, this is the same, which is true. So to demonstrate this, I've put this little setup here together. And what you see here are some Gregtech pipes, and on top I've put liquid detectors, which are Gregtech covers. And what they do is they put a redstone signal out so the lights will come on, and those are lamp fixtures from Project Red. And what's going to happen is liquid steam is going to come out of this tank here. It's going to go into this T section, and it's going to branch off, one going to the left, one going to the right. And notice this section is a little bit longer. This section over here is a little bit shorter. Let's turn this on and see what happens. Okay. Okay, so the liquid's filling. Liquid is filling. Oh, the one on the left took a little bit longer. So in theory, the one on the right should have more steam in it when we're all done. Okay, now let me turn this back off. They've ran exactly the same amount of time. And it takes a few seconds for the liquids and the steam or whatever you have in your pipe to evacuate, and you'll start to see the lights going out. But I want you to pay particular attention to the one on the left. Here we go. Notice the ones on the left are going out consistently, just like, they're being shut off one at a time. That is because the liquid is evacuating perfectly right down to the tank and then it shuts off. But the one on the right kind of looks like a disco floor from the 70s, huh? That is because liquid is bouncing around inside and it is not consistent. It's sloshing back and forth, trying to fill and get to its final destination. This can be a huge problem when you're designing your steam networks or your liquid networks using Gregtech. Now, before you just say, forget it, I'm going to chuck it, I'm not going to use Gregtech pipes, don't do that. Gregtech is a thinking man's game, and Greg actually engineered these very cleverly, and I really applaud him for it because it's really cool. At first I wanted to pull my hair out. I was like a bishop wanting to kick a stained glass window in. I'm telling you. But he had put in something very clever to go along with this that I was unaware of for a while, and they're called shutters. Think of shutters kind of like valves. And in here, what you see, these little ribs that are in between the pipes, those are all shutters. Let me grab one shutter. Oh, no, I actually have one. Let me put a section of pipe down here to show you. Okay, here's a big section of pipe. And it doesn't matter. They work with the tiniest section of pipe or the biggest. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to put a shutter on the end. And the shutter is right here. Now you can configure this using a screwdriver. If you right click on it, you can see that it has different options. Depending on whether you want the liquid to come in or come out, that's what you can set it for. And you can even set it, attach these to machinery as well. Say you're using like a, I don't know, a generator or something else. Something that uses liquid, you can put shutters on so the liquid, if it puts liquid out, say it's like the mixer and you're going to mix up concrete. And you can put a shutter on there to make sure liquid only comes out, not back in, and it only opens when there's work to be done, etc. You can take these covers off with a crowbar, just like that. And let's just say there's some really cool ways to place them. Let's say we got two things of pipe here. Let's make it even more difficult here. Say I want to put a shutter in the center. Okay, see when I'm pointing my shutter here, there's a grid pattern. If I place it in the center, the shutter goes right on that side of it. However, if I don't want to bust my piece of pipe and I want it to be on the left side of this block, okay, I'm going to put it in this quadrant here to the left. Okay, now it's on that side, and we can actually see that by looking right here. Okay, and the same thing, you can actually take these off without busting your pipes by aiming on the sides. See that? You can even put them on the other side if you have no access to it. Say you've already attached it to the machine. You just aim at the corners. See, and then it'll be right there it is. Boom. That's how you use those. You can also configure them this way. Say you don't have access to the back of the pipe. It's attached to a machine. Just click on the corner the same as you would. See that? And you can still adjust your shutters. And this works with other Gregtech, like say you're using the conveyor cover or the electrical or liquid detectors, anything. All Gregtech plates and covers work the same. It's really awesome. And just use your screwdriver to configure it and use a crowbar to remove them. Okay, now I want to show you basically the wrong way of how to hook up steam pipes or pipes in Gregtech. Okay, what I have here is your basic boiler, and I've got no, let me turn this switch off here real quick. I'm going to hook up the large pipes on the side. Now, no matter what size you use, you know, they all connect to it. Let me just hook this up really quick here. Boom, boom. What we don't want to do is what I'm doing right now. See how I built this all? And I'm going to show you why this is a flawed design. You don't want to use the biggest pipes. And I've seen people, even in servers and stuff, using this mod, and it just makes my skin crawl when I see them building stuff this way. And here is why. Let's turn on our boiler. Now I want you to pay attention to the screens in blue. They're going to start filling with steam. But watch the one on the left the most, okay? But, you know, kind of watch all, but watch the one on the left. It's going to go up, but then it's going to go down. What is that about? Look, it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down, it's bouncing around. What if this was a machine that was trying to run? Okay, there, that one's dropping down basically to nothing now. Check it out. It's going down and then it's coming back up. That is because liquid sloshes around inside the pipes. Without shutters, this is a big problem. Okay, you cannot consistently generate power if you're doing turbines at the bottom, or say you're using, you know, a steam macerator or something else. There are tricks to using Gregtech pipes. Now I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to show you the right way how to connect things up. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is get rid of all these pipes here real quick. Take all these off. Bust this all down, and I'll show you what we're going to do. In case you're wondering what these panels are that I'm using, those are actually the new advanced information display panels from Nuclear Control 2 mod. They actually let you shrink them down into flat panels. They're a little glitchy right now. In the latest version of his mod out, he's got it disabled where you can't flatten them. But I'm sure that's just going to be some stuff that gets resolved here shortly. But in the older version, which is what I'm running, you can still flatten them down, and I'm using them on here. Plus, you don't have to have any update modules to change them. The advanced versions actually have everything built inside that you need for them. Okay, back to Gregtech. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to still put a large section over here. In fact, let me check. Yeah, I do got some steam in there. I need to get that steam out of there really quick. I'll use a tank to get it out. Let's just grab a tank here, and I'm going to throw that steam on there. And we're filling it, and we're filling it, and we're filling it. Let's just get that. Okay, good. Now let's get rid of that and make sure our system is completely evacuated. Cool. Evacuation complete. I love that movie. Okay, so now I've got a big section of pipe. This is what I'm going to call my distribution pipe. Kind of think of it as your pipeline. You want your pipeline, your distribution pipe, to be as big as possible to carry as much volume. And think of each one of those sections as a mini tank. If you look here in NEI and you look here down in your bar, it says fluid capacity for this for the huge tungsten steel fluid pipe, and each pipe is different, mind you. It says that this piece of pipe can hold 48,000 liters, and that's what it transfers per second, okay? But there is an amount it can hold that's going through it, all right? So I don't want to pipe these down directly. I want to restrict things. So instead of using the biggest ones, I'm going to come over here and grab these smaller pipes, these really tiny ones. The turbines don't need a ton of steam to turn, okay? So we're going to go up here with the small ones. In fact, I'm going to say we're just going to put these first ones on down here first because we're going to do some shutter action on them. Okay, so I've got those first small ones, and I'm going to put shutters on them, okay? I'm going to put there, there, and there. And now I want to configure these to allow liquids in. Now remember, when I was telling you about shutters, and don't worry that they're not connected yet. That just happens when there's no other pipe on the other side. You have to make sure that you pay attention to which side the shutter is on, if it's on this pipe or the one on top. And that's, that can screw you up. So I only want to allow liquids in, but not back out. 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now I'm going to put another pipe on top. Boom, boom, and boom. You're going to be so impressed on how nicely this is balanced, okay? Now I want to we got more shutter work to do at the top. Now I could just attach that right to the top, but that's not what I'm going to do here. We got some other work we need to do. All right. First of all, I want to control the flow going down my main trunk. I've got to make sure that it's not bouncing back and forth. Okay. And normally I would not put one every single block, but I want to put one after each machine or before it, one or the other. But you've got to make sure that liquid is not bouncing around in sections or you're going to have all kinds of problems. So since I have a machine here, here, and here, I'm going to put one right before it goes into that machine. So I'm going to put one here, and there, and guess what? Yep, you guessed it, one there. All right, so now I'm going to configure these for output. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. All right, now we're not done yet. Let's grab, let's put the pipes in there, the big ones, back in. And there, and the one on the end. Now we're going to grab our small ones and put them up there, right? Wrong. We're going to put more shutters in. We're going to put one here now because we don't want the fluid going up and down, up and down. And it also keeps fluid going nice and consistent across the top. So we're going to put one in there, there, and there. And let me get my screwdriver. We're going to configure these for output only. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Actually, I think I did that wrong. I want those to be output, not input. Sorry. Output allowed. There we go. That would have been bad. See, I can even get screwed up. Gotta pay attention. That would have been, a head scratcher there. Output allowed only. Okay, now we can put our small pipes in. Yay. And we don't need to put shutters in between these two because there's nothing going on between here and there, right? We've got a shutter in between here and there, and so everything can just flow really nicely. In fact, we could just keep putting more stuff right down the line and the system would balance it out. Now there is a maximum that you can go per steam boiler or liquid period going through there. But you're going to have to explore and experiment with different sizes of pipe. You can constrict them even more. There's even a smaller section than this. The more you constrict them down, the farther you can stretch it out. Just think of it like taffy. Okay, if you only got one machine, fine. You'll put all the steam you want into the one machine or one liquid. But if you got two, okay, you're stretching the taffy now. All right, let's flip this bad boy on and let's watch this. Oh, and by the way, this is ugly. So let's go ahead and get, a little janky. And let's get a cover plate here. Yeah. And let's make that really nice and tidy. So if I just do this, sexy. There we go. Boom. Boom. And you get the point. You can really make things really nice. Now, by the way, the to match, you want to use stainless steel plate. Okay, that's what the Gregtech stuff is mostly all made out of, stainless steel. But there are plates for the tungsten, and there's many plates. Greg has put immense work into putting matching plates in. And if you want to get in his forum and pester him a little more, I'm sure he would just love for you to pester him more to add more plates. In fact, I know that's not to be true, but I would love to see more plates. And Greg, if you're watching, I'm a huge, huge fan of yours. Please keep adding more and more stuff for us to do with your pipes and your machines. This mod is incredible, guys. I just love it. Anybody that says poo-poo to it, they just don't know. They just don't know. Go back to, playing with your Duplo blocks, because this Gregtech is the advanced stuff. This is the real thing. I just love him for making this mod. In fact, this mod is what really turned me on to being a Minecraft player. I used to watch my kids play it, and they would build a little house out of sticks and so forth. And I thought that was great. But then one day they downloaded something called the Technic Pack, and it had Gregtech in it, and they were showing me how they built a machine out of it. And my jaw dropped to the floor, and I couldn't believe it. Now, I'm an electrical engineer at heart, and in practice. And when I saw you could build machines, and it was inspiring my kids to build machines, and then they started wanting to get into modding, I thought, this is incredible. And I started playing it myself and became a huge fan of Minecraft. And it was all thanks to mods like Gregtech. Mostly Gregtech, though. So anyway, now that we've got our pipes, I want to go ahead and turn the steam on. Now, I don't have my generators on. These are not going to charge up, but let's go ahead and turn this on. Now, I want you to pay attention now to watching these blue ones fill, okay? You're not going to see what you saw before where they're bouncing all around. They're just going to fill up consistently and stay there. Boom. Look at that. They're all at 4,000. Even Steven. That's what we want. Now, the other thing we want to watch, okay, is we want to make sure we check our liquid amount up here in our output hatch. We want this to be completely full and staying full. That is the goal at all times. So what we're doing here is we're pressurizing the system up. Whether it's liquid or steam, you got to pressure up first before you turn on your machines. And if you don't, you won't be able to know where your leaks are, or you've got a volume problem or a pressure problem. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and turn on my generators or my turbines. Check it out. Everything's charging even. You have exactly every one of those turbines is getting the exact same amount of steam. Now watch up here. These can bounce anywhere between 2,000 and 4,000 usually. That is normal. And that's perfectly fine. That's just normally the Minecraft ticking away and updating itself. What you won't see is this up here, our hatch, running out. Okay? If this would run down and not be able to stay topped off at all time with every time it ticks, if it keeps going down, you have a volume problem. Let me demonstrate that by putting in a wrong pipe. Like let's say, well, I don't want to do that because I don't want to bust it up. But basically, here's what would be the problem. If I put something on there and it wasn't constricting down and it was sucking up all the steam or the liquid into it, this here would not be able to stay full. This normal amount going up and down, that's very normal. That's just it replenishing the other sections of tubes as it's using it. But say that was dropping, you just couldn't keep things running. It would eventually exhaust and shut down. And you wouldn't have nice, even charging across the board. Now I'm using MFSUs and I'm using turbines here, steam turbines. But this would be the case for any steam item that you hook to these pipes. This, guys, is the proper way to watch and monitor your steam or liquid use in Gregtech. You don't want to just kind of fly by the seat of your pants connecting things and trying to just figure it out. You want to know. And if you want to know how these panels and all that work, go on over to the Nuclear Control 2 mod. If you don't already have it, it's an add-on for Industrial Craft 2. It's really awesome. I think the mod author right now is Xbony2, and he's doing a really great job. And if there's other modders, whoever's helping out with it, it's really an awesome mod, and it's meant to help control your nuclear, power plants and stuff. But it has many other applications as well, and it's just really an awesome mod. Okay, so finally, before we go here, I want to show you one other thing. Now here in this situation, I've built what I have on the other side. I've also added my lights at the top. I've added some place to look a little more snazzier. Okay, but it's still just the same old tungsten pipe you can see on the back here. And on the top, what I'm using is these are the liquid detectors. And that looks just like, here's this liquid detector cover right here, okay? So say I put this down, put my liquid detector on the top, right there. You can configure it with a screwdriver, normal or inverted. That's pretty obvious. If you don't know what that is, I can't really help your derpiness. So I'm going to get a lamp, throw that on there, get a lamp. I use, ooh, beautiful pink one. Let's go with purple. Forget the pink. No pink. All right, so I'm going to put the purple up there. All right, got a lamp, and this is a lamp from Mariculture. There we go. Their light's not as pretty. I want another color here. I like the Project Red ones the best. Let's get a magenta one. I should have been tipped off. There's no purple lamp. All right, here we go. Okay, now it's in regular mode, but if I switch it to inverted, there, the cover now is going to put out a redstone, or turn off the redstone when there is liquid in it, and vice versa. It's in normal mode, so it's only going to go on when there is liquid in it. Okay, actually I like that purple quite a bit. I have to use that later. Anyhow, let's get back to our setup. So why did I put these tanks in, and what the heck are these things? Well, I've designed little check valves. Say I don't want to run all these turbines all the time. I've been able to, I'm going to show you how you can separate sections and still let the flow keep going down through here. All right. So what the tanks are for, let's just talk about that for a second really quick. This is really important. If you've ever used a battery buffer for the electric devices in Gregtech, then you'll know what these tanks are for. They're buffering. But if you don't know what it is, well, I'm going to explain very shortly. This steam generator, and all steam generators or boilers, whatever, can only put out so much steam at once. And depending on, situations, like in here in the lab, I've got a perfect situation set up. They're all the same turbine and they're all using the same amount of steam. But say you didn't, say you had different machines that took a different amount of volume of steam to run or liquid. What you would have is, an overabundance of one when it kicks on. Say you had this big machine over here and used a ton of liquid at once, but it only needed to run a very short amount of time. Well, that's when you'd want to put in a tank. And I'm using these tiny little thermal expansion resonant portable tanks, but you can build any forged tank system like a railcraft tank or, advanced, I think it's Pressure Pipes has a modular tank system in it now. It's really awesome, by the way. Check out that mod. It's called Pressure Pipes mod. Holy crap cakes. That mod freaking rocks. It changes your life, changes your game, and you will love it. Anyway, so back to this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to allow these tanks to first fill up, okay, before I turn on my turbines. Let's go ahead and turn these on, all right? You can't do that with an Omni wrench, Chloe. There we go. Now, watch the top. You're going to start to see the steam just because we got it shuttered. It's all filling up nicely, nice and filling evenly. All right. And what you see down here, what these numbers mean, where it says tank, the amount in the tank is the first line. That's what's filling up in the top there. The one that says pipe, well, that's the volume in the back here, okay, just in this one block. Okay, now that our tanks are all full, what I want to show you is what happens when you start your machines up and you have a buffer that works, okay? All right, generators are running. Check it out. It's filling nice and consistent across the boards, generating power all the same. Now it looks like these two are just ahead by a little bit of a click. That's just normal Minecraft updating the blocks. They are filling 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That's how it works. And so it just doesn't look like they're in line, but they are in perfect alignment. All right. So now I'm going to shut off my steam. All right. Let's just say this is to simulate, a loss in, fuel, or a loss in, say something broke, a creeper broke some pipe outside somewhere and you had to get out there and fix it really quick. Well, guess what? Those tanks allow everything to keep running. Okay. Steam counts as a liquid. So let's say you got your repair back on. Okay. Look, you see the tanks are going to start refilling again. Right now, pressure's got to build back up, and we'll start having more liquid in there again. See, it's starting to go back up now. Boom. Very happy. And everybody's going to be happy. This happens when your system is properly pressurized. See in here, this is a smaller output hatch, so we're not going to have as much liquid in it as the other one, because it's the Bronze Age. And I've got a smaller hatch in it. Once these are all full, you can see that we're still consistently staying nice and even. Now let's just say this machine didn't need to run anymore, okay? And say this one didn't need to run anymore. There was no more ore in it or whatever. Again, we're just pretending here. You'll see that they continually, this will empty out here, okay? But it's not going to fill this tank anymore. It's just going to run everything out. Now, if I wanted to, I could design another latch down here to shut it completely off, but that's what this thing does here. It shuts them all off. But you could engineer them individually if you wanted to. Okay, as promised, I want to show you how these valves work, or these switches work. So let's just demonstrate that over here. And this again works with any size pipe. So I'm going to put a shutter on here real quick on that side. And then what I'm going to do is go get myself a control. It's over here. Here we are. Okay, machine controller cover is the one you want. All right. And I'm going to put that one on the side here. Now you can control these by, again, using your switch, all right, or your screwdriver. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a piece there, and then I need a lever. Just copy that one. Boom. And okay, let me put a lever on here. Okay, notice how that's turning colors? That's because it connects it or it doesn't connect it. To better demonstrate that, let me get you a small piece of pipe on here. Okay, now see how that's not connected? I connect it, disconnects it, connects it, disconnects it. That is a good way of doing that. That's how I've, made these tanks here disconnect from the main line. And I did it down below so it doesn't cut off in between here, allowing steam or liquid to continue to flow through here. It just cuts this section off. And you could actually build another one down below if you wanted to. But that's in principle how it works. And again, that will all change depending on how you configure your shutter. So see, if I have it different settings, it will affect it, as well as the machine controller too. So this one says open if work enabled. work if this work is disabled. Those settings make more sense when those shutters are mounted to machinery and so forth. Because like say there's ore in the machine or there's not ore in the machine. You need to experiment around and play with them, but there's a lot of cool settings. In fact, I might do just an example tutorial of just how these work with different machines and so forth. But yeah, so only output allowed, output, or only input allowed, and open if work is enabled. So I want to leave it on if work is enabled. Now if I click that, it just connects it. That's awesome. And you can convert or configure this as well. So now it's inverted, and you can, if you like your switch going that way, it's just the same. So yeah, that's how shutters work. And again, if you want to get really snazzy cat, you can go up here and get yourself let's try a liquid detector cover. Put that one on top, and again, just throwing a lamp on top of there. And well, there's no liquid in there. Here, we can fix that by doing these. Put this on top and open it up. There you go. Light. And you can switch and invert that as well up top. So, well, normally you can. Let me get that normal mode. And there we are. Yeah, let me get a light. And you can see I'm just switching it around. There you go. You can cover your plates. You can cover your pipes, even the small ones. Hide them nicely. Experiment, guys. Play around, have fun. If you want to hide these into your walls or whatever, it can be amazing. Leave me a comment down below if you have some questions. Maybe I forgot something. Maybe I got something wrong, or you have another idea or an alternative way. I really enjoy your comments, and I refine my work and what I put on here based on what you say. Let me know what you'd like to see reviewed next in the Gregtech laboratories. I plan to go through the entire mod. I know it's a big mod, and I'm not going to do just boring old like here's the diesel generator and this is what it does in a 60-second drive-by video. Not going to do that. I'm going to show you in my videos more creative examples, actual, walkthroughs of me doing the work and making mistakes and finding successes together. And if you enjoy that kind of video, then stay tuned, subscribe, like, and you know what? Wouldn't hurt to leave me a little comment and let me know what you think. All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you on the flip side.